as a New Yorker, I'm so quick. Like sometimes I have no like
Filter?
not no filter. Like I don't know how to like preface things. Like I'll go over to somebody and be like, do you know what time it is? Like before I say hi, or like, do you know where am I, or which direction do I have to go? Or like we were in my little town in Sicily, and I was going over to people like, do you know where this house is? And he's like, say hello first. So I think I am somebody who's right. This person who's like, oh, he just described me as this great friend and so caring and fiercely loyal. And I think that sometimes what would appear to be rude to other people isn't me being rude. Right. It's just me being New York. Like I'm so like, I don't sometimes think about the like, hi, my name is Tara, or like, hi, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but could you please? I'm just like. Cawfee Talk. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Cawfee Talk, where the coffee's strong, the talk is real. And today's guest, well, you're going to get a whole new inside look into your host, Tara Cannistraci, because today I have invited my husband, Michael, to the couch.
Thank you.
That's only key to clapping.
That's all I need.
I clap for all of us.
Just one.
This episode will be called Inside Tara Cannistraci. Anyway, so Michael, welcome to Cawfee Talk.
Thank you for having me. This is fascinating.
Wait, is this the first time you've been on her podcast?
Mm-hmm.
This is my first podcast,
This is your first
and
podcast.
I feel like there's more to come, but this is it. Yeah, this is cool.
So Mike is in my studio here, Kita Studio, really, in the Cave in Los Angeles. And I boldly came out here almost 2 years ago. 2 years ago now, yeah. It was January 2023. Oh, God, that's 3 years ago. No, January 2024 I came out here.
Yeah.
And I came out for 5 days because I was actually annoyed with you.
Okay.
I think we had like, not annoyed with you, but like I was in Albany.
Must have been a Tuesday.
I was in Albany. I was in Albany on a weekend, an opening act for somebody else. And it was January in Albany. It was freezing. I was in a cheap hotel, not working to my potential. You annoyed me. My friend Patrick annoyed me. And Patrick said, why don't you just get on a plane and go to Los Angeles? And I said, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I booked a flight to Los Angeles, came out here for 5 shows, came home.
Probably killed at the Bourbon Room on my show.
Yeah, was that one of the first?
That was one of your first shows.
That was one of my first shows.
And she got bit by the
she
LA
murdered
thing, right?
that night. Showed Los Angeles why she needs to be here all the time.
And I had a pretty good run of shows and was like, I think I'm done all I can do in New York. And I came out here and you were very supportive.
Yes.
Very supportive. And then come this May when I signed the year lease, you were like, I'm only going to be there like 3 times a year. And I think this is already 6 since then, because you got bit by the LA bug.
Yeah. I mean, the weather is one thing that latches onto you. And just I don't want to say this sense of community, because it's different from the New York community that we grew up with and deal with, but just the culture is cool.
I think
I'm finding a lot of my own local spots, getting some friends of my own, which is cool. Cigar spots.
My little boy's growing up before my eyes.
Yeah.
All right, so I think what people really want to know is, because they don't care so much about Los Angeles the way I do right now, but I think they want to know what it's like to be married to Tara Cannistraci.
This is a 3-hour episode.
He's got
swearing.
jokes too.
No swearing.
He thinks he's a comedian. Continue.
They say. All right, this is a multifaceted question. And I get asked this question all the time, by the way.
Do you?
Yeah. It's, what is it like being married to a comedian?
Okay.
It must be funny. You must laugh all the time. Ha, ha, ha.
I'm noting a little bit of sarcasm there. Continue.
Yeah, well, laughter does turn into tears at some point. But What is it like? Okay. You are super driven,
Mm-hmm.
super talented. I mean, there's not just because you're
And you've
here.
seen me from the beginning. Well, from halfway through the beginning.
I did. And, you know, I made a promise early on, you know, when we were dating and so on, that if you're with somebody that has dreams and aspirations, it's different. I don't know if it sounds cheesy or not. Like, I don't. I wake up, I go to work, you know, I eat, drink, smoke good cigars, like kind of simple, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to be able to, I guess, give you my focus and my support. And I told you early on that it's nice, you know, it's something. And then we've since shared the energy of your career and so on. I don't want it to make it sound like it's about me, but what I'm
Isn't everything?
it's just a broad question.
Well, it's not just comedian. I think it's like what am I like on a daily basis? Like I'm like
Okay. The problem now is social media, right?
uh-huh.
And we know how much it's a necessity in this world and how much you need to do it and need to be on top of it. And I don't know if your fans or people realize how engaging you are to them, that it's not a bot or AI or an assistant or so on. This is you responding. And I think that you really grasp your audience because that interaction, I think, is key. You know, they're getting the real you, the real answer, not a template answer, not a scripted answer. So
that's a big part of my day.
That's a huge part of your day. Usually when I look over and it's like 6 a.m. and you're ready, chomping away at, you know, responses and so on. But very intense. Your intensity carries on through your whole life. I mean, it's not just what you do for your social presence and your on-stage presence. Anybody that's been fortunate enough to see you on stage, you know, I think understands your writing ability, your stage presence. Those are huge. But past the comedy and business end of it, your intensity follows through. You're fiercely loyal. You're fiercely loving, not only to me, to my family, to your family, to your friends. You are. Does your audience know what you did before comedy?
Yeah, we talk about school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she is a licensed guidance counselor in the state of New York, probably transfers and reciprocates in other states. You are everybody's therapist, not by choice. People just cling to you and they open up to you, and you give them the honest feedback, which some people just cannot swallow, that honest feedback, but you do, and you're fiercely loyal about it.
I said I can't take on any more friends because if one of my friends has a bad day or like something's wrong, even like he just maybe sprains his ankle, I asked like 4 times in text in 2 days. Like I will
no, more like 8 times.
I will like fixate on, is that person okay? Like I can't function fully if somebody in my life or in my immediate circle is not right. So I'm like, I just have to make sure they're okay because I have to continue to work like this, or I have to do. But if I have to stop, I need to know. Or if they're not okay, I need to know because my brain is like wired that I won't. I know this about me now. That like if one of my I almost don't want to answer the phone if I know if I may have a bad day in that very moment, because if I have to do something, because I just stop everything. I cannot function if somebody in my life is not okay. So much so that like it was really hard for me to come to LA and leave our home.
It was, yeah. I mean, it only comes down to one thing. Can you bill insurance companies for your time?
I should be able to.
That's the only thing I'm thinking of.
But like I won't like. It's not like I just have a show and that's my focus for the day.
Right.
It's everything else that goes involved with being a wife,
a friend, a daughter-in-law. I mean, you talk to my mother just as much as I talk to my mother. So these components that make you, I don't know how people can see it on stage or in your podcasts or any other entertainment venue you might be on. But yeah, the real you is that follow through of everything. And then just pounding away at perfection as best as possible, whatever it is. Whether it's your comedy set or commercials or other people's podcasts, your podcast, it just follows through in all these aspects or avenues of your life.
Mm-hmm. I think it would be like what I think about is like not because I think I'm exceptional, but because I think people have to understand how hard life is for everybody. And it's like, yeah, I could do my makeup and get my hair done and sit in front of a camera and talk about how successful I want to be. But I also wake up tired, perimenopausal, still cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner if I'm home because I'm fixated on us being healthy and eating a certain way, even when I'm not home.
Can I jump in on that?
Yeah, you can jump in.
So, right. You are concerned about our health at home, on the road, and we do pretty well. This way, when we go out to eat, we generally indulge, I guess you'd say.
But like I'm cooking up until before the show.
I mean, yeah, I think we did do videos back in the day, and they were real, especially when you had a lot of shows that we would drive to, and they were a couple of hours away. Anywhere in Jersey.
Yeah, before I was on the road or had anything like a tour. All my shows were New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and I was still working the school. So I would wake up in the morning.
Well, yeah, when you were working the school, there was plenty of times that I would pick you up at closing time. You'd have your change of clothes. You'd either change in the car or wait till we got to a green room. And then you'd change there.
Or no, I would go home, shower, cook dinner, and then go.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what time the show was and how far we had to drive. And then once you left the school system, and now it's just straight like every single show that we drive to, you're worried more about besides the house being clean on the way out, it's...
what if somebody comes and robs me? They're going to think I'm a slob.
Exactly. It's like the clean underwear thing if you get into an accident. Which
I would shit my pants in an accident, yeah. So there'd be no point in having the clean underwear on, but yes.
But cooking, and also not only just cooking and throwing something in a pot, but purposely undercooking the pasta, knowing that it would cook up to al dente by the time we got onto the Garden State, which is usually when I would put cruise control on, drive with my knees, open up the top, and then I would enjoy a nice meal on my lap.
What he's describing is my mental illness. So when I say that,
no. I thought I was talking.
No, I am completely compulsive and obsessive with certain things.
Yeah.
And when I say doing a day in a life, like I said, not because it's glorious, but because you go, oh my God, maybe you're like, wow, she's just like me, or wow, I thought she had it so much more together mentally than she really does. Because like I said, everybody thinks everybody's life is so great on social media. I've been pretty honest on this podcast about some of the dark parts of my past and some of the struggles that I have personally. But I thought it'd be cool to hear the side of Mike. And Mike met me 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago now, when comedy was just 6 or 7 years I was into it at that point. Right? Or I don't know how to do math, but
I've seen you grow as an artist.
Yeah, I was only in comedy 4 or 5 years at that point, yeah.
More, but I saw you grow as an artist. The venues got bigger, working with other comedians, whether, international headliners, national headliners, local yokels, whoever. And then also us growing our life together. So just there was a lot of growth, and we are continuing to grow.
And it's hard.
And it's hard.
Would you say comedy put a real strain on our marriage? As much as it's like been the saving grace, I think it's been the saving grace before you answer, because it is exciting. not that the venues are great. Like I just said, I did a show for 34 people at the Hollywood Improv.
The intimate room.
And it's in the intimate room. And then could be 500 people on a weekend. Did you really like that show?
Well, I liked your set.
Okay. But it's still a different type of lifestyle. It's not a traditional lifestyle. And I think knowing your past before you met me, you were kind of bored in relationships because they were a little, and this isn't insulting any woman he's ever been with. It's about a personal thing because I'm not here to, it's about your own, what you desired was something a little more.
Yeah, a little bit more challenging. Engaging, and so on. And I feel like it was fascinating from day one. Obviously, it was a joke, ha, 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 to me too. And then until I morphed into becoming engulfed in the industry, and we travel together, we see different cities together, nice hotels, crappy hotels, whatever it might be. So it's become a way of life, and it's if somebody asks me to hang out, a lot of times their follow-up question is, "Or does Tara have a show?" And then it's just become part of our conversation.
Which I think people in the beginning, this is very common. They didn't understand why Mike was around so much and doing so much. I think it was a different side of you that your friends and family never saw.
Correct.
Where you became like fully involved and all about somebody else's life other than your own.
Exactly. Loving you as a person, loving us as a couple, and loving what you do. It's a nice package. Now I'm in the entertainment industry. Check me out. IMDb credits. Look me up online.
He has 2 IMDb credits. He thinks he's the next Robert De Niro. Somebody shoot me.
Hey, let me chime in really fast.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to say, one of the things I love about her is that she never comes empty-handed. Every time you come to the studio, you're like, there's food, there's something, you know what I mean? And I'm not digging, dashing on my other people.
They're not listening, so it's okay.
They're kids.
Talk
They're
now.
kids.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And they're not Italian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that really struck me, and I also want to give Mike some props. I mean, like that.
I'm here for it. I'm ready.
That your show, he was outside, the proudest, talking, going crazy, and you can't fake that. I've been in relationships where it's like the other person, it's not as supportive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to have a partner that's because I know how much you're here. I see you. And that's for a married dude to like be that supportive of a wife on the road like that. It's speaks huge to you in your character.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was a bold, that's why I said his comedy been destructive, and we'll talk about it. But to what you just said about support. So when I met Mike, I was very set in my ways. I was 36, 37 already. I was, single for that amount of time. And I was like, comedy was I was just starting to get kind of good at it. And I say that 5-6 years in, you're not good at it. I've just started getting kind of good at it. And I knew that was the goal. So when I met Mike, I had this like no BS personality that was like, I need this, I need this, I need this. Like I was so bold in what I needed. And he came, I remember him saying to me once, nobody's ever said, like, I've never had a change that much, or nobody's ever asked this much of me or something. And I said, I understand that, but I can't go forward. It would be foolish for me at 37 years old to go forward with somebody who couldn't do what I needed at this point. Like,
right. I was able to willingly adapt and change certain things in my life. You definitely opened my eyes to a lot of things, and to your surprise as well, right?
Oh, yeah. I remember we were like 4 months in dating, and I was about to break up with you. Do you remember this? When we came from like, we didn't know it was going to be, but it was like, I was upset about it. No, it was like,
make sure we remove that part.
It was Labor Day weekend. Remember we had went to like with your friends in Montauk or something, and it was just a little interaction that happened that I just said, I don't want to be
I do remember
with these. This was just not a positive, and I go, I don't want to spend my time around something, this kind of environment. And we came home, and then you came to my house the next day, and I had my spiel already in my head, what I was going to say. And like, I started talking, and you're like, oh no, you're not going to give me it's not you, it's me. That's my thing. Like, what are you? And I was like, I just think we want different things. And I was really upset because we'd already said, I love you. And it was like, and I was like, but I just know me, and I know that I'm not going to be able to do this. And
so what you're saying is you lost sleep over me so early on. Thank you for that.
No, but it was, I knew. I said, this is what I need.
Right.
And I remember going, oh, it's so foolish that I'm going to, because he said, just let's see if let me rise to the occasion. Stop, don't shoot me down, whatever. And I said, all right, I think it's foolish of me to think a 41-year-old man is going to make changes and you know what? I have to be honest, to your credit, I don't think we ever fought about the things I asked you to change after that. I think it was just, you knew that it was a no-nonsense situation for me. I was really driven. It was really just about me being able to focus on work.
Right. You leave no room for error, especially everybody in yours and our inner circle. No, not only with me, with them, with your family, with your mom, with whoever. It doesn't matter. Like, there's just no room. So,
well, that makes it sound like I'm hard on people.
No.
And I am.
You are fiercely loving, like I said earlier. It's your love, and you want to support. You want to champion. But you do it in business. I mean, if you want to, go into that or whatever. Yeah. But you are consistent. You are consistent. Keto, to your point about her bringing something, I think that's a cultural thing but
it's also personal
that we grew up in. It is personal, because she would know. I don't know if you have any dietary concerns, but she would know if you did, and you bet that there would be an extra stop or an extra, one of these delivery services or so on that would have the appropriate item for you. A feel-good item or a necessity.
When we were ordering coffee on the way here, he goes, see if Keto wants. I go, he doesn't drink coffee, and the place that we're ordering from doesn't have the vegan wrap that he likes. Like, I know in my head, because we weren't ordering from Alfred. The quickest one was another one.
God,
yeah,
that vegan wrap.
So how she is able to compartmentalize that stuff is fantastic. So she does it with you. She does it with me. She does it with with anybody, and I just don't understand how she has that much. I picture it like a big cigar bar with all humidors, like how each of us has our own. I have to relate to something. I know.
Yeah.
That's your head, and then each of us has that locker, and you're able to enough about you now. I have to jump onto this guy, this girl, this situation. Somebody's going through a breakup. Somebody's thinking about getting married,
Yeah. Like I tell my friends, I make the joke where I go, because I say that I'm everybody's mother. I go, now I understand what they say when you're only as happy as your most unhappy child. Because like, if my friends aren't okay or if something's wrong, I'm like, I just want to be able to focus on something else. But to that also, because I said good and bad and the ugly, and right now I sound like a saint. No, I sound like a really good wife, which I am. But I do have struggles. I suffer from something called PMDD, which is like PMS on steroids, if you don't know what it is. In fact, I think many women today are misdiagnosed. I think women get diagnosed with bipolar disorder at times when it really just is a chemical due to chemical imbalance, or I don't know how to really describe PMDD, but it's
kind of like when you go into the ocean, Jersey Shore type of thing, and there's the little waves, and that's your normal cycle. And then there's that rogue wave that comes. Well, that's PMDD, and you don't know, and your friend doesn't tell you to turn around. That type of situation.
And it just takes you out.
And it just
PMDD
takes you out.
is without even being funny, if you are a woman if you're a man listening to this and do know a woman, it's usually about a week to 2 weeks before a woman's cycle where her hormones completely shift. It is uncontrollable. It causes a lot of women to have either depression or anxiety.
Causes men to drink more, I think.
It comes with rage. It comes with, so there's a lot of components to it where it's truly unfortunate because if a woman is suffering with it, think about it. If it's a week to 2 weeks before a woman's cycle, that's already half your life. Then a woman has to have a week of,
not fitting in clothes.
Oh yeah. No, but real struggles. You're getting 1/4 of your life is only one. If you have one good week a month, that's only 1/4 of your life that you're actually having a good time.
And when women don't know they're suffering from or going through whatever, it beats up your life because you don't even know it's coming. So it's not just the partner,
I
right?
was very lucky. I had a doctor, Dr. Hirsch, back when I was young in my 20s. He said he was so ahead of his time to say you have PMDD and there are ways to control it. Unfortunately, I think they put a lot of women or young girls on birth control for it. Actually in 2020, I came out to California and I stayed here for a month. Do you remember?
No.
And I actually took a class online because it was and it was about like the biology of your body. I'm not good at science, but because it was the pandemic and I had nothing else to do, I took this class and I learned and I weaned myself off birth control, the birth control they had put me on. I never felt better in my own skin after being off of that. There was so many things I learned about myself, and I always say I want to get so famous that I can make PMDD. I think there are women that I think have even, you get suicidal ideation on it. I mean, there are so many dark components to this.
Does it go away after menopause?
That's an excellent, and it does most likely shift. But then your woman starts to go through menopause to get rid of it. And
then you still have Mercury in retrograde too.
I just heard about this last week.
Let me tell you something. The whitest thing I thought I'd ever say was, "Oh no, is Mercury in retrograde?" But let me tell you something. It's like now. Well, now it's not now when this episode is playing, but it just was, and I was like, I actually can feel the shift. And I think you have to be really in tune to it. I think it happened with age. I think as I got older, I was more aware of like things that affected my body. And now, because like in the beginning, I'd be raging and I would be like, it's not because I'm getting my period. And then, and it always was because, which isn't to say that the things I get upset about aren't things to be upset about, but they're exasperated by this really uncontrollable like feeling of like
and within
anger.
And within our friend group, there's a couple of ladies that either have gone through it or go through it.
That I've been able to tell and go to the doctor and help people get diagnosed with it.
And the good thing is, thank God they're not on your cycle.
Right.
So they are able to talk me off the ledge.
We all rage at different times.
Yeah, so it's good. It helps me stay on top of the curve. But also, just a quick aside, not only were you working on that, helping yourself and helping you educate other women and bringing it to light through your, through your medium, but I also was going through something medically at the time when you came out to LA, and then you took other courses on microbiomes and all that stuff to help with like a GERD or a situation, which thank God it wasn't something deeper that they thought it might have been. But you also took classes not only while you're worrying about your stuff and trying to figure out what this pandemic thing was, but you were also educating yourself on how to break down my food intake or whatever.
And you healed your body.
Yeah.
You healed your body through food and discipline, which I do believe food is healing. I believe a lot of us can heal from food.
more props to you. It wasn't you, again, like I was saying earlier, you are devoting that time, not only to you, just for, it was for our health, for you know, all the women that hopefully you've helped by, because I've heard you talk about this for years, trying to educate people, whether it was on breakouts. I think you spoke to doctors about it and other podcasts.
I do
want
to have a hormone therapist in Cawfee Talk. I had one that agreed to do it back in New York. I should really look one up here in Los Angeles because I think could help a lot of people, men and women. You know, women who suffer with it aren't suffering alone. We're oftentimes, you know, fighting with loved ones when we have, you know, episodes, and you know, it's you know, there's times where I go, I don't want to feel like this, and I still have to do things. I still have to work, or I still have to do a podcast, or still have to be there for a friend. You can't not continue to live your life, but in the back of your mind, you're not feeling good about yourself a lot of the time, and it's really something I'd love to control. And listen, I do believe I could be better with food. They say don't drink alcohol the 2 weeks before, which is like the time you want it the most, right? Like there are certain things I could do better to make myself feel better that I opt not to. But I'm a sugar, like I love sugar. That's really not good for it. They're just all things. Listen, if you know someone, or if you yourself suffer with something like PMDD, let me know in the comments. I should probably, if you know a woman in your life, if you're a man listening that hates you half the month, well, let me tell you why. No.
DM me for that one.
You can reach out to Mike. You guys can start a support group. But it is a big part of our relationship because I will be like, you have to treat me completely differently these 2 weeks out of the month.
Yes, that's the good thing is I don't have to be self-aware all the time because you bring it to life and explain to me how you need to be treated, which is great that you could verbalize that.
But there is something to, PMDD is a part of our marriage.
Yeah.
And it's a not good side of it.
No.
And it could be the side that would make me, you know, fight or say I want a divorce, or scream and yell about every single thing. The sound of his sneeze, the sound of his chew, everything is exasperated in the moment. And
you can verbally slay somebody. So that, fueled by the PMDD and the Sicilian DNA, it's an interesting mix.
Again, I'm saying it's not nothing I'm proud of, but it's something I legitimately suffer with. And so I think people knowing that there's another side of me that has struggles, you know, and that being one of them, and obviously one that's not within my control, but definitely one I need to work on.
We should do is there a medication for it? Can we
So
do
the
an
thing
ad
is,
buy
a
for
lot
it?
of the medications I don't want are controlled substances that people say, like some of my friends have gotten like Zoloft or Prozac for the 2 weeks before. They only take it 2 weeks out of the month. And listen, I believe in doing whatever you need to do to not suffer. I've just been resistant towards medications like that my whole life. I've never been on them. So I try and do things more homeopathic. I will go for a massage or get my nails. Like little things like that will help make me feel better. I've been taking baths lately. That's been something that's really helping. I'm not saying that's the fix, because it's not. It's so severe, some of these episodes. And really, it's heartbreaking to have to live through them that
And we're in LA, so I'm sure in Beverly Hills there's something for $2,500 a clip that you can.
Yeah.
And you know what we can do? We can get EPMD to do the soundtrack for it.
Yes. I mean, look at this, guys.
Song for the ad.
Story. It's what's happening right here, right now.
And then just have me in the background with the shakes or something, banging my head against the wall.
But no, I figured that's, you know, I don't know if I think maybe I've talked about it briefly here and there, but I think that's something.
I just hear it all the time. I mean, I live with it,
right?
But I also hear you really trying to help women. Mm-hmm. Other comics through the years, when you know, I don't know if they appreciate it or not, or
I think they do.
I think so. I hope so, because again, you put your love into that. That's another way of you paying forward in the in life or in the comedy business, comedy world.
Yeah, listen, you've seen a lot of sides of this business, from me being early on. You've seen the wonderful people, You've seen the Josh Wolfs.
Josh Wolf is gem. I have seen I want to say small handful, you know, this industry.
And when I say the people that have helped me, like Josh Wolf, one of the biggest
Absolutely. No,
cheerleaders I've had, who will be on this podcast in 2026.
With a cowboy hat?
I'm sure he'll have a baseball cap. Or,
yeah, the industry, I don't know if you want to talk about, without.
No, I just think that like what we see is there's been really ugly sides of this. Like when I come in here and have a moment where I go, I want to quit the podcast. I don't know what I'm doing. And it's because, it's other people who've, ruins. Listen, when I came to California, it was because I was like, I actually feel like I'm working backwards.
Right.
Like I actually felt like that was the year I gave up school counseling full time. And I was like, I'm not doing anything. I didn't feel good about my life at all at that point.
It was a big leap of faith. I mean, leaving,
a steady salary and a job that I loved. Like I lived a life of service. And me as a counselor was not like I went in there at 8 a.m. and left at 3 o'clock. Like.
So as I was trying to digest my food a lot of times on the Garden State Parkway, flying down, to show somewhere in Jersey, I'd have to hear you on speakerphone with Abuelita on the Grand Concourse in the Bronx, going over, with a translate app or what, just talking other people off the ledge because of their nieces, nephews, kids, grandkids, whatever the situation was.
Everybody had my cell phone. I had no boundaries as a counselor.
No boundaries.
I was in people's houses.
Oh my God.
If kids didn't show up for school.
Can we say that or not?
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't care. This was the DOE. Was the Board of Ed going to come back for my license?
So there was plenty of day that we drove through the streets of the Bronx because during the pandemic time, you were doing the Zoom, like the Zoom calls or whatever. So I guess you were taking roll call or whatever, or teachers would let you know if somebody. I forgot how it went.
Listen, you had to sign on for online classes.
And those poor kids that didn't sign on for online classes got paid a visit by no other than Miss Cannistraci.
Mask on and all, banging on doors.
Not like bank robbery mask, but the HEPA mask, whatever they were. As I was driving the getaway car, because I'm like, this can't be legal. I'm like, I don't think they do this in school districts across the country, but she was getting in buildings and knocking on doors.
Parents would let me and be like, you won't get up, get him in the bedroom. Could you imagine you 9 o'clock in the morning, your guidance counselor is standing and going, let's go, get up, you gotta get to class.
I mean, I hear that, but I had to put a ring on it for that. I mean, that's different. Yeah. But that was plenty of occasion. And I'm sure those kids and definitely the parents and your peers, your other educators loved you for that. I mean, it's again, that fierce love and loyalty that it was all about getting these kids in gear and then visiting you once you went back and there was in person again, whatever, in your little, 20 square foot guidance counselor office, these kids that were like just waiting for your next word, hanging on you, laying on the floor, wanted to get yelled at, needed to get yelled at, whatever it was. Like you were probably equivalent to like a zookeeper, like,
don't talk about my kids like that.
No. It was like I'm trying to think of like
that reference at all.
No.
Zoo.
No, I'm thinking of like back in the the circus. You're like they would tame them.
No. I don't like these references
She didn't beat
at
anybody.
all.
She didn't beat anybody.
But you're also calling my kids animals.
No. It was the attention. It was the attention that they gave as they were roaming around the room, kind of like the way lions would roam around the cage. Okay, like looking at the master or zookeeper or whatever, waiting to get fed or whatever. They were just in that aura, and that's something that you also do on stage. Is your physicality on stage draws people in, not only the words and the way you articulate, but your stage presence, you make eye contact, you occasionally abuse people. There was definitely an article that came out, don't sit in the front row.
Yeah.
So that was great. But those school days were wild. They were crazy.
I still, to this day, I said I was going to go back and get my stuff. I can't go back because I missed it too much. I think leaving the school was the hardest thing. Here's the thing. I just described that job to somebody as like, it was kind of narcissistic in the sense that like, I knew how important I was to those kids, and I knew how much they loved me, how much I loved them, obviously. So much so that used to be like, hurry up and quit. We can't afford for you to be their counselor anymore.
Oh, man.
I was spending so much money on these kids.
I mean, the good thing is you introduced organic foods to Grand Concourse. Like a lot of teachers would just get pencils and pay. I know teachers in general go in their pocket.
I was fixing cell phones, buying prom dresses, paying for trips. I was spending more money. No, not more money that I was making, but I definitely spent a good portion of my money on the kids every day. Buying lunches and things like that. But
chopped cheese.
But it was definitely for me really hard to leave because I felt so necessary. And I think in comedy, until people started really connecting with people, and I was just doing Instagram, I felt like such a shallow living from how I lived. I remember I was a counselor for 18 years. You know, I'd seen, and what people don't know is the one story quickly that I will tell is I was on the cusp, but I was making the decision to leave, and the administration in the school I was working in, I'd been in that community for 18 years, said we're willing to take you 2 days a week. We're willing to take you 2.5 days a week. Whatever you can give, we think is worth it, because we think you are so connected to this community and these kids that you're going to make a difference. And I, wasn't really ready to fully leave. And then I had a morning where I didn't want to go into work. I'll never forget. It was a Thursday. And I said, oh, God, I got to go in. I told so-and-so I'd be there. It wasn't even a kid. It was an administrator that wanted me there for a meeting for her support, because she needed support from me from the meeting. And so I went in and I walked in, and it was like 8 a.m. And of course I had, like Mike said, I had kids waiting at my door for me, and who needed to come in and who, needed to see me before they started their day. They needed their hug or their whatever juice or oatmeal I had brought in for them or whatever it was. And my office was like a revolving door. Kids were in and out, in and out. We had a system. They just needed to either see me or talk to me or be around me or me give them guidance right at the start or just a good morning. And I had these 2 girls. I loved them. I'll leave it at that. I won't say anything more. I want to be conscious of how I deliver this story. I had two kids come in and say that they needed to talk to me, and they looked like it was serious. But you know what? In middle school, everything is serious. They're hormonal, they're emotional, and I'm going about my day. I have a kid who was acting out. I have these kids that want to talk to me, and my phone rings, and the 2 kids say, Miss Cannistraci, we have to talk to you because we said if Miss Cannistraci is in school today, we're going to tell an adult. But if you weren't, we weren't going to tell anybody. And I said, okay, what is it? At this point, I'm still, calming down from the rush of the kids just walking in. And they said, so-and-so has a gun. And I said, what? I said, are you sure? They said, well, he had the gun yesterday, and he said he was going to bring the gun in today, and he showed it to us, and it was in his, I said, how do you know? How do you know? And he lifted his shirt, and it was in his pants. And I said, okay. And I said, this is what I need you to do. I need you to go into class and show the teacher that you're there, and I'm going to pull you guys out immediately. I said, but just go to class and give me 5 minutes. And another kid walks in at the office at this time. My phone rings, and it happens to be the dean. And I'm the other kid who's now walked into my office who needs my attention. I just grab my phone as I'm on the phone with the dean, and I say, hey, can you look at your cell phone? And I text him the kid's name and say that he has a gun. And he said, what? I said, just relay this message. And I hung up the phone, and my phone rang again. It was my principal, and he said, are you sure? I said, no. But find out, and I hung up the phone, and I attended to the student, and then I ran and I got the kids who told me, and I locked them in my room and I slammed the door. And I said, under no circumstances are you ever to tell anybody what you just told me. I was not protecting myself in that moment. I was thinking, these kids, this was their friend. They don't want to give up their friend. They were scared for themselves or for someone else or for even their friends. And I didn't want, we come from this mentality where we think, that you rat them out. And at the end of the day, I'm going to leave that office. I'm going to go to my little house in Westchester County where I'm safe. I can drive away. And those kids have to live in that neighborhood. And I got really nervous. And I said, no matter what you do, don't tell anybody. I said, call your mothers. Each of you give me your cell phone. I want you to call your mothers. And I called the mothers and I told them what they did and what had happened. Within 10 minutes, the cops were in the building. The gun was confiscated. It was a gun. There were bullets. We were on complete lockdown in the building. I never let the kids go back to their classroom. I said they had to stay in my room. I wouldn't let anybody else in my office that day. I was coming in and out of it. And at some point, my principal had come to me and he said, the cops want to speak to you. And I said, of course. And they said, and they're going to need the name of the students who told you. And I said, oh. I said, I'm sorry. I go, was the gun confiscated? Is everybody okay? And he goes, yeah. And I said, okay, why do they need the names? And like in that moment, somebody in authority is speaking to you, somebody who I respected, and cops want to talk to me, and I think I have to tell the cops everything. And I just said, I can't talk to anybody right now. I need a minute. And I was lucky enough that a union rep had been walking by at the time because he was coming by my office for something else, and he overheard the conversation, and he ran upstairs realizing I was the person now. Now people know, right, I'm the person who's found this gun. And he called me and he said, I just spoke to the president of the union. You don't have to say anything to anybody. And I said, good, because I wasn't going to. Or I think he had called me after I had already rejected them and said no. They brought me up to the cops. The cops, somebody made the terrible mistake of an administrator who I love, it wasn't the principal, it was somebody else, made the terrible mistake of saying to me, they're going to need the names. They said like they would come for your job. And all I thought in my head is like, I'm going to leave anyway. I'm not, even if I wasn't, I'm not going to put 2 kids at risk to save myself. So I just walked in and I was like, hey, because like nobody had even thanked me at this point. And I'm like, hey, I heard you're going to come for my job. Can you do me a favor and come for it now? I don't want to wait till 3:00 to leave. And they were like, okay, guess we're not going to talk to her. I was like, I'm not giving anybody's names up. Did you get it? A thank you would be nice. And I turned around, and I never would disrespect a cop. And even one of the officers came over to me and said, everybody's emotions are high. Everybody wants to make sure they're dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Nobody's mad at you for not giving anybody up. I'm like, this is too emotional for me. This is too intense. And then I went to my office and got the call that the union rep said I never had to say anything, which I hadn't. And I just thought to myself, as these kids were in my office, and it rang in my head that they said, Miss Cannistraci, we would never have told an adult if you weren't there. And I said, well, I woke up and I didn't want to be here. And even if my obligation was only to be there 2.5 days a week, like I was thinking of doing, how would I ever live with myself if on a day I wasn't in that school, something would have happened? And I just realized in that moment that I was done. And it was a really sad moment. And believe it or not, the newspapers still leaked the grade the school that the kids were in, the sex of the students who came to tell me, without me even opening my mouth.
Right.
Those kids were in danger, and I was furious. And of course, it said guidance counselor. So even though there were 5 in the building at that time, everybody knew who it was.
Right.
Everybody knew I would be the one that somebody would go to. And I wasn't nervous, or I didn't feel like I was at risk, but it was definitely a moment where I came home to him and I said, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to pursue comedy full time. It's not fair to the kids if I stay. And once it was no longer about me again, and it was just about what would be fair to the kids, I made the decision to leave before I felt really ready to. But I think that kind of sealed the deal for me. I took that very hard.
I know. And it was a big leap because of the financial blow to us as a
medical insurance gone.
Yeah.
Our medical insurance was gone when I left. New York City, if you have the right credentials and you're in it long enough, you make a lot of money. You can make. I was making
Right.
6 figures, and I walked away.
So the problem of that component is your love and your passion for being an advocate for those kids, that you were not able to just be like most employees and just, all right, peace out at 3:00 or whatever. Because I know in that school system there was an option of a couple of days part-time.
Yeah, it's called like F status. I could have done 2.5 days a week.
That would have been great for
I
us
would have kept my
financially.
benefits financially, but in my head I said I'm too invested. And taking that money, it's not going to be 2.5 days for me. You knew, and I knew it wasn't going to be, because it wasn't 5 days for me. It was weekends. There were Sundays. If a kid didn't come home on a Saturday night, the parent would call me that I would be at the house on a Sunday before we had a family event or something, and I'm out on the streets looking for kids. The night my grandfather was buried, cops had come to my house to pick me up because kids went missing, and I went looking for them. Like, that's just because people had access to me. It wasn't like this is typical. It's because I couldn't.
Right. And now they have social media access to you.
And now the social media access is cute, and I think I've spoken about it. As hard as it was to leave, I have former students now that follow me.
Right.
And they'll say things like, Miss Cannistraci, we're so proud of you for living your dream. Which is adorable because they were part of the dream as well.
Maybe one of them will give you a payback and go into like entertainment management or something.
I have a kid, Giordano Loriano, just became a lawyer. I said, it better be entertainment law. You're not getting $1 from me. All the times you had to be in my office because you couldn't shut your mouth up. Plus, I got you in the program that had the debate team, and he actually gave me my flowers at his high school graduation. He gave me a speech. I think I talked about it on this podcast before, where he said he was there because of me, and he wasn't. He was there because of him. But I did push.
That's great. That's That's the difference you made.
Yeah. And you got to see that. What was the more intense part of me, or is it the same? Was it the comedian or the counselor?
It's the same. It's whatever you do, whatever you dive into, whatever your hands are on, whatever you're engaged to or locked into, that's it. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay. Your intensity is consistent. So that's why you could not, unfortunately for us financially, that you couldn't just.
We're broke.
Yeah. You couldn't just
looks good online. Buy tickets to see me.
Buy tickets to see her, and
it's just a very different way of life to do this. It looks better.
It's a different way of life, and then like talking about finances in this industry. I mean, just the tremendous highs and lows of
the comedy clubs that screw you.
That is horrific. But as you know, I chose to stay in my lane and not do or speak the way I want on certain situations. And it's sad. It really is sad. I mean, I used to be a restaurant owner. I get the today's money end of it, but you also have to build your brand. And a lot of these comedy club owners or people that rent out conference rooms in hotels, they call them comedy clubs. The way they treat their business, it's all about today. They don't look at longevity. They don't look at the talent. They just want that quick hit today and don't realize that it's going to come back and kick them. And there's also a problem with, the representation of artists. I talked to plenty of comedians in the green room. I mean, I've been to more comedy shows than probably most comedians, right?
Most new comedians for sure. At least most mid comedians.
And everybody bitches and moans about something, right? And if it's not their personal life, it's usually in the business end. They're and on different levels. I've heard it on the top and I've heard it on the bottom. Management, these agents, these bookers, these club owners. It's something.
It's a hard business to thrive in, and it's a hard business to stay positive in, and it's really sad because you are doing an act of service, really, to make other people happy and laugh.
That's the therapeutic end of it that you do, and
it is a hard business. I love it. I love the people that I have, present company included. But I love.
So there's another piece of that that's interesting.
You have to be delusional. I think that's where I am right now. I have to be so delusional that I'm going to make it, that I'm going to be able to give back. I always say and I say this all the time, I don't need a lot of money. I need enough money to feel good, and so that I can give it to other people so that they can sustain a living off of what we're doing.
Well, you truly pay forward. So what people might not think about, probably don't realize it, whatever. You might be touring around all over the place, but based on these deals, we'll call them deals, in the comedy industry, there's plenty of times that you, I don't want to say lose money, but there's plenty of times that your openers or feature acts that travel with you, or usually the people that travel with you, between their travel, their accommodations, and their pay, whether there's, pennies, spot pay from the club, and then you add to it. But there's plenty of times that those acts are making more than you, and you are the headliner, and you are the grinder. And
there have been some shows where I'm like, you're definitely going to make more than me on this.
And yeah, I don't.
Not more. It's not more, but it's like in comparison to time and energy.
No, forget about that. That's drastic. But there's also certain financial times. But you are treating your brand.
Well, I care about the audience having a good time from start to finish, so I go in my pocket. The cookies are my new thing, and the feature being a great act, and me making sure the features. I lost plenty of money being a feature for people who could afford to pay me, you, Keita, Mike. They could afford to bring the whole team on the road with them, and they still made me go in my pocket and pay for myself.
That's the other thing.
So I think I've been treated so poorly. And I know how I would have wanted to be treated. Plus, like Keita said, maybe it's just the Italian or personal side of me that I want people to be like, I was on the road with Tara and I made money.
Right.
So that's important to me. And plus, I believe in the talent of the person I'm bringing. And I think that they give something to my audience. And that, to me, makes it worth it.
Yes.
Because I want the audience to be like, wow, I had a great show.
It's with a small, fraction of the headliners that you've worked with through the years that have gone in their pockets too.
Josh Wolf went into his pocket.
Yes.
Joey Diaz went into his pocket. Even early on, Nick DiPaolo, before, when I first started, years and years ago when I worked with Nick, went in his pocket. He was the first comic to ever tip me. I go, I don't know what's happening right now.
Right. And you do that all the time. And it's a shame that some of the other people through the years haven't just,
Well, some have been mind-blowing because some have been extremely successful.
Mind-blowing.
It's a weird thing to stay in something because you want it so bad, even though you're not valued. I think we do that in relationships, personal and professional.
Right.
You want so bad to be with that person, or to be successful in a business, or maybe even at work, that you accept treatment that really is undeserving. And
comedy's an abusive relationship,
and it's and so or in personal relationships, people accept less because they just want to be with the person.
Right.
And I just wanted comedy so bad, I accepted what anybody ever did for me, and I never want anybody I work with or affiliate myself with to ever think their time is not worth it to me. Like, I want to value people's time and their talent,
right,
to a fault.
But I just wish the industry. It's people, because people run the industry.
I know Keita had a question.
Oh.
No, I can't remember.
I said, don't forget it.
But you know what the thing is, though? Most industries have. My opinion about this is every industry has a bunch of assholes and some really good people.
Yeah.
And I think here in my life, it's like, what I've realized is that you have to get to know people through different situations. And I think the reason why we have such a bad rap in this industry is that it's so transient. Mm-hmm. You'll meet people, you'll be close, and then next week they're gone, and and I think that the transience factor makes it where people can not treat each other as well, because there's no longevity. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed that.
Yeah. So what's interesting is, like, the comedy world is, the comedians peer to peer I feel like are good. Sometimes it's the other levels. It's the business agents, it's the managers, it's the bookers, it's the club owners. It's like
I think
it's like the others. I have a problem with a lot of them that people don't hustle in this world.
Well, I always say nobody's going to work harder for me than me.
Nobody's going to work harder. Nobody is marketing her better than her.
I think you just gotta, in my opinion, I always pay attention to people and I try to get them out of, like, usually when you're dealing with people in the industry, it's always like a very specific way.
Right.
And it's like, I feel like when you start, that's why I like to go out to lunch with people or bring them, put them in different environments. So that way you see how people are going to react in different environments, because it's one thing to act a certain way in a certain angle in life all the time. But then when you see them another, especially taking someone out to eat, because the way people treat people, like the wait staff and other people, you can really get a good read on what type of person you're
right
with.
Where you're not in just this one single environment, somebody on a podcast, somebody whatever, you start seeing them in different light.
And then you really start realizing, like Christy Quinn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Christy's one of my dear friends, and we've dealt with each other on a number of levels, and it's like, oh, that's my person. You know what I mean? I feel that way about you. You know what I mean? There's other people who we've talked about where it's like that person, like I have a philosophy which is like, I want to, this is kind of later in my life philosophy. It's like, my goal is to get along. My goal is peace with people. It used to be being right. Now it's like, I want peace with people. But in order to have that with everybody, it means as I get to know you, I have to figure out how close or far away you need to be from me.
Yes.
Right.
And and I take great joy in knowing that there are people in this town that think we're friends because I have put them at a certain distance from me where we can be friendly.
Right.
And they drive me nuts, but they don't know, because I've put them at the right length where we don't get into some kind of conflict where they will feel like shit because we're in a conflict.
Right. That comes with age, and that comes with experience. And like that's like, even when I talk about toxic family relatives, you put boundaries up, or you don't allow certain access to yourself through certain people, and people in my life might not even realize that I've put those boundaries on our relationship, because I'm not vocalizing it. I'm just doing things to protect myself and to protect my peace, and that's what you're doing, and I like that peace.
So watch out, folks. If you don't hear from me that often, you think we're friends, it's because you drive me fucking nuts.
Well, I do know. Once you finally invite me for lunch, then I'll know. Then I can open up to you, and you'll understand me in a different light.
What I think is funny is that, as a New Yorker, I'm so quick. Like, sometimes I have no, like...
Filter?
Not no filter. Like, I don't know how to, like, preface things. Like, I'll go over to somebody and be like, do you know what time it is? Like, before I say hi, or like, do you know where am I? Or where's direction do I have to go? Or like, we were in my little town in Sicily, and I was going over to people like, do you know where this house is? And he's like, say hello first. So I think I am somebody who's this person who's like, oh, he just described me as this great friend and so caring and fiercely loyal. And I think that sometimes what would appear to be rude to other people isn't me being rude. It's just me being New York. Like, I'm so like, I don't sometimes think about the like, hi, my name is Tara, or like, hi, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but could you please, I'm just like.
The thought is processing in your head, and then as soon as you make eye contact, it's whatever word is in that hamster wheel shoots out.
Sometimes I have conversations with myself, and then I'll just say something like, well, I'm going to make the salmon later. And he's like, who are you talking to? Because like, I have like worked out this whole thing in my head of like.
The salmon.
Like, we're going to, if we do this, we go here first, but we're going to have dinner. And I'll just blurt out like half. Like the mid-thought, I'll say one sentence as if he was having the conversation with me the whole time. I do it with my friends too.
Is that a version of Tourette's, or is that different?
We're not going to talk about disorders on here.
No, I don't know.
No.
I don't know. That's my ignorance. I don't know.
Okay. We'll cut that.
Or not.
Anyway, so the long and short of it, because this has been a long episode now.
Yeah, it's over an hour.
All right.
Sorry about that.
We're over an hour.
I just feel like everybody wanted to know me.
I don't have to love Mike. He loves himself enough for the both of us.
And I wore the hat so you guys don't really
the
recognize me and do
Coupeline. He's got
autographs.
the Coupeline.
The
We
Coupeline.
bought that in California.
This one?
Yeah.
No. Or
Yeah.
Sicily.
No, I think we got that one on the way to Santa Barbara.
Yes, that little town near where Michael Jackson. I remember that.
Where his house was?
Yeah,
Maybe?
I don't remember the area.
It was like a
little stop, a wine town.
cute little village.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was cute.
Guys, I hope you got some inside information on Tara Cannistraci. Know me, love me, don't like me. Nah, you do. If you're listening this far into this episode, you definitely do. And I love you for it. I love you for coming to the shows. I love you for your comments. I love you for the stories you tell me and the things you share. Thank you for listening to Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and being very
Thanks
brutally
for having me.
honest.
This was great.
I think, yeah.
Appreciate the accommodations, getting a free lunch out of this, I understand.
Yep, going to lunch with Kita. We're actually, guys, we're going to In-N-Out Burger right now. That's
Yes.
true. Mike wants
It's gonna
his
be my
first
first.
In-N-Out Burger experience. We are going to do that now before getting the red eye back to New York. Thank you guys for tuning in. All my shows are listed at tarajokes.com. I hope you have a great week. I love you.
Cawfee Talk.